Free Palestine. Free Palestine.
We can't air more of what the suspect said to our cameras this morning. It is not suitable for television, but you heard his basic message there.
Yes, Daniel Garcia, Studio City, Los Angeles, California, after a home invasion at 5:25 a.m. A Jewish Israeli family, 9-month pregnant mother of 4, and her husband yelled, "Honey, get me the gun," while he's fighting the crazy underwear-clad, knife-wielding lunatic Democrat, driving him out of his house. 5:25 a.m., home invasion, good job, Dad. And he was yelling at his wife, "Honey, get the gun, get the gun," when the home invader put his hands up and said, "Don't shoot, don't shoot." A great Second Amendment moment. He didn't even have a gun in the house. The mere suggestion had the home invader on his knees with his hands up, pleading for mercy. The fanatic was there to murder them because they're Jewish. He had known them. He'd been to their house before begging for food. And welcome to America 2023. And happy Friday. Welcome back once again. We remain at 888-630-9625. 888-630-9625 is our telephone number. Absolutely toll-free to you, wherever you may be. Although we have been getting calls. We had a great call from London earlier this week. A wonderful Englishman that called in. We've had a caller, Stephen, calling from Israel, calling from Jerusalem recently, and those are long distance. You know, you want to probably find another means of calling in by way of internet, calling in from around the world. We have listeners in Belize and in Sweden and in Germany and in Canada and elsewhere as well, because everybody wants to be a great American. Am I right? Come on. Every normal person does, everywhere in the world. It's great to be an American. And a beautiful weekend here on the mid-Atlantic region of the East Coast of the United States, weather-wise. And I think everybody, if you're around here and you're getting the weather that we're getting, should probably plan for an outdoor happy hour somewhere tonight and tomorrow too. Why not? Start early, though, because the sun goes down. Sun goes down pretty early, so you got to start your happy hour sooner rather than later. I think it's an excellent idea. That's what I think. Now, we're talking about the crazy Democrats and how they remember the good old days when you had to worry, you sent your child off to college and you had to worry that they were going to come home leftists because they're being brainwashed and indoctrinated by leftists at these prisons that we call universities. And you had to worry, oh no, my son, my daughter went off to college, perfectly normal, pro-American, happy, well-adjusted person, came home an angry, demented leftist, America-hating, capitalist-hating lunatic. And then just a handful of years ago, the Democrats decided to dial it up to 11, dial it up to crazy. And everybody had to start worrying, wait a minute, my son went off to college and came home, my daughter went off to college and came home Chaz Bono, lickety-split, terrible, terrible thing. And now you send your child off to college and you got to worry that they're going to come home jihadis because the jihad is alive and well on college campuses, and it's the Democrat Party driving the train on all of this, of course, because of diversity, equity, and inclusion. It's the DEI construct that holds that there are two categories of people on the planet Earth, the victims and the victimizers. The left has come to the incorrect determination that the Palestinian people are victims of Israel because Israel runs a free, democratic, liberal society next door to them. And we need a two-state solution. Well, we gave you, 25 miles of beachfront property, and you turned it into a jihad loony bin filled with bloodthirsty murderers So if that's the second state, we're going to have to revisit this discussion. But the Democrat Party, they want to see the Gaza Strip grow. They elected Hamas, a radical Islamic terrorist organization, to be their political leadership. And then they never had another election. And the polls indicate by Palestinian pollsters that Hamas would be handily reelected immediately. And, they really don't want the state of Israel to exist. They don't want to live side by side in peace. They want to murder everybody in Israel and chant from the river to the sea, which, remember, we had this liberal Bloomberg columnist yesterday saying, oh, no, from the river to the sea doesn't mean they want to wipe Israel off the map, as everyone knows it does. And we've known this for decades, for generations. But this idiot from Bloomberg, who I think is Jewish himself, certainly a liberal, proof of that is, that he's a complete idiot. And he said, no, that's not what it means. What do you say it meant, Michael? It meant that they wanted to go on a hike. They want to go on a hike from the river to the sea, and that was going to be real good. Because from the Jordan River to the Mediterranean Sea, that's the space that Israel occupies. And the jihadis chant from the river to the sea because they want to push the entire Jewish population of Israel into the Mediterranean Sea and ideally kill them all. That's their mantra. What do they do with all the Arabs that live there? Because it's the only country in that region where you have Arabs who are Muslims, Arabs who are Christians, with Christians who are not Arabs, and Jews who are Jews living side by side in relative peace, except when the jihadis get a little antsy, and then there's a problem. But the left has inflicted this jihadi mindset upon millions and millions of young, impressionable Americans. Again, the Harvard-Harris poll that came out about a week ago shows that more than half of Americans in the 18 to 24-year-old category believe that the murderous assault on Israel with the decapitations, the rapes, the hostage-taking, believe that attack was justified. More than half, 51%. That's 50% plus one. That's more than half of 18 to 24-year-olds in the United States of America believe that this blood-drenched assault was justified. That's the word they used, justified, in the Harvard-Harris poll. And a full 51% of 18 to 24-year-olds in the United States said, yeah, that was justified. Kill the Jews, man. They've made jihad fashionable in the United States. First, gender dysphoria. Before that, leftism, right? Anti-capitalist, anti-Americanism. The left has secured such information dominance and cultural dominance in the United States that they first made leftism popular and fashionable. And then whatever this gender dysphoria, this mental illness that the Democrat Party has unleashed in the United States, they prove that, they can do anything. They got John Fetterman elected to the Senate over Dr. Mehmet Oz, a TV star heart surgeon, professor of heart surgery, and he lost to Frankenstein with his basketball shorts and his hoodie. And he won. That proves information dominance right there. That's what you can do when you have information dominance. You can get Frankenstein elected over a TV star heart surgeon, the son of Turkish immigrants. The left is a hate cult, and this whole jihad thing certainly proves it, doesn't it? Yes, it does. Thank you. You're welcome. Now, the left-wing mob was out on the streets of New York again last night, doing their anti-Israel, pro-Hamas thing once again. And there is a college in New York called Cooper Union. Cooper Union. They've got a campus in Manhattan in New York. And there was a mob action there on Wednesday when the pro-Hamas mob assailed a group of Jewish students. Now, the news media is downplaying the hell out of this because the news media is the most corrupt institution in the United States of America. And the most insidious power the news media has is the power to ignore. And they're doing a lot of ignoring right now because it is the Democrat Party and the left that has effectively joined the jihad, and they have become in the mainstream of the Democrat Party and academia, which is the mainstream of the Democrat Party as well. They have become essentially genocidal racists, genocidal anti-Semites, anti-Jewish, anti-Israel. I am a Zionist, and I'm happy to say that. It means that I believe that Israel has a right to exist. And the Democrats teach college campuses, the news media, Democrat politicians, Rashida Tlaib, who experiences a calming feeling whenever she thinks about the Holocaust of World War II. She experiences a calming feeling. Ilhan Omar is, somebody texted me this morning that today is Ilhan Omar's wedding anniversary to her brother. I don't know if that's true or not, but it might be because she married her brother to cheat the immigration system, which is fine because she's a Democrat and a WOC and a Muslima. They like that. WOC is woman of color. Muslima is a Muslim woman, and they love these divisive terms. But in any event, at Cooper Union, pro-Palestinian rally at Cooper Union leads to tense moments at school library. A left-wing typist at CBS News, Lisa Rosner, typed on behalf of her party. And they're pushing this narrative that the Cooper Union students were not barricaded inside the library during the pro-Palestinian rally. Now, when they say pro-Palestinian, that's code, that's a dog whistle. That means pro-Hamas. Because right now what we're talking about is Hamas. We're not talking about Abu Abbas and the Palestinian Authority, who refused to meet with Joe Biden when Joe Biden was over there because the Palestinian Islamic Jihad bombed a hospital there run by Baptists. You know, you guys should work on your culture for a couple of 100 years and get back to us. What do you think? But there were tense moments at the campus of Cooper Union in Manhattan on Wednesday afternoon. Students who are pro-Israel say they felt unsafe as pro-Palestinian demonstrators banged and chanted outside the library they were studying in. There are reports that they actually broke into the library. The Jewish students had to lock themselves in rooms for their own safety, and that the mob was running in the hallways, pounding on the doors. CBS News is downplaying this because the most insidious power the media has is the power to ignore. So it is they tell CBS News, New York, Liz Rosner, school staff locked them in the library due to safety concerns. All right. So the school staff saw this violent mob of pro-Hamas, pro-Jihad, genocidal anti-Semites pounding on the building, and they locked the Jewish students inside the library for their own safety. See how that goes? There were no arrests. They say there was no property damage, but you really can't believe a damn thing they say because they're downplaying this. They're spinning it for the jihadis. But pay no attention to that. Video shows a group of Jewish students standing in the Cooper Union Library looking terrified as other students chant "Free Palestine" outside the locked doors and hold up signs outside the glass. It was tense. People were nervous, one student said. They were specifically acting very aggressive in those spaces where outwardly Jewish students were sitting. So the librarians ran over to us and they were like, "We tried to warn you." The librarian said, "We tried to warn you. But we just got notice that they're coming down," sophomore Taylor Lent said. "I genuinely don't know what would have happened if the doors were left open," another student said. Students said they were studying in the library after attending another rally earlier in the plaza because everything is protests. It's just completely crazy. Completely crazy. And I've got some audio for you of that. And also college students in New York, Jewish college students in New York, and what they are experiencing I've got some, I think, really important and remarkable audio for you of these college students talking about what they're experiencing. And we must keep in mind that this is all the Democrat Party, 100% on the Democrat Party, which seems to have evolved again. Just extraordinary. Security escorted us from the library to this building or outside where people were left to go home. Kristallnacht is just around the corner. Wait till you hear this audio I have for you. It's worth listening to. Hey, it's Chris Plant, excited to tell you about our July 2024 Listener Sea Cruise. We'll be sailing around the British Isles, visiting Scotland and Ireland. Please join us. Book by this July 31st for extra savings. Visit chrisplantcruise.com. A friend of mine who is Jewish texted me and said they locked them in the library. They locked the Jewish students in the library. I guess there was no attic to hide them in. And apparently no attic in the Cooper Union Library. But they're considering renaming the library the Anne Frank Memorial Library now, since the Democrats have visited a new era upon us. I've got great audio coming up for you. Right now, let's grab a telephone call, because we don't have enough time in this segment to get to all the good audio that I want to share with you. Let's go to Joe, calling from Manassas, Virginia. Joseph, you're on the Chris Plant Show.
Mr. Plant,
Joe.
I listen to you every day and love your show, that you bring some jocularity to the nightmare that you describe to us every day.
Well,
you give us terrible news about the world. Do I got you?
Yeah, sure. I got you. Yeah.
All right. Hey, I just love the way that you present, first of all, that with all the disarray in this world, that you bring it to us with a little bit of flair, and I appreciate it, because it's not happy news, it's sad news. I'm in VA. I got a kid that thankfully is graduating, that will get out of the school system that's been indoctrinating him. The funny thing is that he's athletic dude, whatever, and then when it comes home, he games. They should change the gaming to, I don't know, let's go Hamas instead of whatever battlefield he's gaming. Just, it was funny to me.
Yeah, it was funny to me. Well, Joe, the news, I grew up in a news household. I worked in a newsroom for a long time, and you develop a, you might call it a gallows humor, but it is a mad world. And I've always believed, and I was raised to believe, that the worse things get, the more you need to get a laugh somewhere along the way. It's an amazing planet. We were just talking here about the attack by the jihadis on the Cooper Union School. Jewish Cooper Union students told to, quote, hide in attic, end quote, during raucous pro-Palestine protest. You could call it raucous. One student said the suggestion reminded her of Anne Frank. See, we were just talking about Anne Frank, how they should rename the Cooper Union Library the Anne Frank Memorial Library, now that they've got their fascists outside and the Jews hiding inside, and the faculty locked the doors to keep the mob out. Boy. Jewish students barricaded inside the library at New York City College Wednesday afternoon were reportedly told they could, quote, hide in the attic, end quote, from pro-Palestinian protesters if they didn't feel safe. A rally outside the Cooper Union Library in the East Village early in the afternoon took a chaotic turn when pro-Palestine students and their protesters entered the school's Great Hall and headed for the president's office. After demonstrating there, they headed downstairs to the library. Witness accounts given to the Jewish publication Forward, and independent journalist Jake Novak described how an unnamed library employee suggested Jewish students hide further upstairs away from the protesters banging on the windows and doors. Like, go hide in the attic, one student told Forward. Really, I have to hide in the United States of America? I can't sit in a place where there are windows because I might be attacked, for being Jewish. That's basically what she said. She was trying to be helpful, but, the fact that I needed to hide, that really, I just couldn't understand. Now, this is an extraordinary moment in American history, and it is a time for choosing. And we see a great many people choosing what is obviously the wrong side in this chant. Now, let's go. We've got a little bit of, there was some video, as you might expect, shot at the Cooper Union Library, the Anne Frank Memorial Library, as it is now affectionately known. Cooper Union Jewish students in the library as the pro-Hamas mob is scratching and banging at the doors and windows. The library staff had locked the doors to keep the fascist mob outside. This from their throwing themselves against the doors, trying to break the doors down with the Jewish students inside. And then, of course, they're chanting, Deutschland, Deutschland, über alles. Let us in, they're chanting as they pound, the mob pounds on the door. Honestly, these people know nothing about history, either that or they really are dedicated fascists and genocidal Nazi-style anti-Jewish lunatics. And in the streets of New York last night, there was same city with New York City either has the largest Jewish population of any city anywhere in the world, or the largest Jewish population of any city outside of Israel. But I think it is the former and not the latter. I think they have the largest Jewish population, larger than Tel Aviv. I think that's right, larger than Jerusalem. And this is the left. Again, the left is still all upset about 6 years ago, 12 guys with tiki torches from Home Depot yelling something nonsensical. The Jews will not replace us. The Jews are not looking to replace you, I can assure you. And they're completely ignoring everything that's happening right now. And there are hundreds and hundreds of examples in scores of cities and towns and college campuses across America. The mob marching in the street last night, they're chanting, Israel, Israel, you can't hide. They're not trying to hide. You're committing genocide. They love rhyming things because of their limited mental capacity. They think that it's clever to have Israel, Israel, you can't hide, you're committing genocide, right? And no justice, no peace, by the way, I've been pointing out for many years, is a direct threat of violence. And the Democrat Party is a violent party. January 6th, Capitol Hill never would have happened had the Democrats not normalized mob political violence, which they had done a very thorough and complete job of doing long before January 6th. And a lot of people there that day thought, hey, this kind of political violence is normal now. They're attacking courthouses and police stations, and mob violence is everywhere. Mob political violence, the Democrats normalized it. All right, so here's the Democrat mob in the streets of New York last night. One of these rectal apertures always brings a drum too. Am I right? Just extraordinary. Yeah, I think, and I think that New York has the largest Jewish population of any city outside of Israel. That in any case is certainly the case. That's certainly true. So Israel, you can't hide. And you hear them, they sound like they're gang members. They have bullhorns and drums, and they have large mobs of people. And honestly, if I were Jewish, I think I might get a rifle at about this point. This is another Second Amendment moment, to be sure. Now, this morning on the Fox News Channel, and I want to share this audio with you because I was quite impressed with these 6 college students that showed up for the Fox News. They were invited to talk about what they're experiencing. Now, I've been playing audio for you of a young woman at Georgetown University who was told, or was it George Washington University, where they projected, George Washington University, where the radical pro-jihad student projected the hate messages, glory to our martyrs. And this guy is an Islamist student. He's a Muslim student, an Islamist student, a genocidal anti-Semite student. And he had this very fancy projector projecting glory to our martyrs who are killed while killing Jews, suicide attackers. And again, the Democrat Party has had a whole bunch of suicide attackers in the last several years alone. In Washington, D.C., in New York, in Dallas, in Baton Rouge, in Arlington, Virginia, suicide attackers, the Democrat Party. And that's not an embellishment. That's not an exaggeration. But let's go to these students. They had a group, Fox News did, 6 college students, Jewish, all going to different colleges and universities. In fact, one of them not even going to college in New York. He's at the University of Pennsylvania, which is an Ivy League school. Thank you very much. And one from Hunter College, and there are bunch of different colleges. But let's go to Eyal Jacobi. Eyal Jacobi he's a student at the University of Pennsylvania, an Ivy League school. Worked real hard to get there. His parents raised him right, and he gets into an Ivy League school, and he talks about what he and his peers are experiencing in the United States of America in the 21st century, thanks to the Democratic Party.
What we're witnessing right now is students who are chanting Intifada, which is, a series of bus bombings and stabbings in Israel from the late 80s to the early 2000s. We have calls to violence. And what we're witnessing across college campuses across the country is not just speech, but actions of violence, which we saw at Cooper Union, which we saw at Tulane yesterday, which we saw at Berkeley. And it's really going to take university administrators to not just condemn it, but taking actions against these pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist rallies.
Pro-Hamas, pro-terrorist rallies. Yeah, and that's what they are. They're pro-Hamas. You say Palestinian, that's, again, that's code, that's dog whistle. That's a euphemism for Hamas. What they really came out to support was Hamas, because we're not talking about some, 2 years ago in Israel, where there are, issues, political issues. Oh, a settlement. Oh, no, they're building condos. That's okay. These guys are building suicide vests. They're building rockets and missiles. But never mind that. So, young man, and he was seemed very bright, very articulate. Is it racist to say that he's articulate? That was Eyal Jacobi. And he knows what's going on. He's telling the truth. These people are not going to grow up to be Democrat voters, I'll tell you that much. Here's Healy Florentine. Healy Florentine talking about what you experience on campuses now.
I walk around campus and I feel so much hate. I feel like I have to hide the fact that I served in the IDF. I was called a child murderer 2 days ago when someone found out that I served in the IDF. She
was a medic in the Israeli Defense Force. And when this became known, the left, which loves abortion more than life itself, called her a baby killer, which is what the Democrats used to call our troops coming home from Vietnam after, Democrats John F. Kennedy and LBJ got us into Vietnam up to our eyeballs, fighting the commies, by the way. Yeah, being in the IDF, I'm a child murderer. Well, the Democrat Party leads the charge on that. There's no doubt about that. Yola Ashkenazi. This is Yola Ashkenazi. That's just in case. Yola Ashkenazi was one of the students in this group of 6 students this morning on the Fox News channel, and talking about the, life on campus, and a flyer that is going around on campus.
Just last week, there was a student who sent out a flyer to her student group, and in the email text, she wrote, "Zionists aren't invited." When a student then expressed why this is wrong and exclusionary and borderline segregation, she responded with an abhorrent anti-Semitic email. She said things like, the Holocaust wasn't that special. And the university has not yet spoken up about it. I emailed many deans of Columbia University, and none of them have responded to me.
And none of them have, the Holocaust, schmolocaust. Holocaust wasn't that special. It's a student group, and they love, they're real joiners. This generation of fascists. I'm not much of a joiner myself. I'm kind of Groucho Marx on that score, but the student group and flyers, and said, well, that's just wrong. You're having a gathering and you say Zionists are not welcome. If you support the existence of the state of Israel, you're not welcome. Now, that means the alternative is you support the destruction of the state of Israel, the elimination of the state of Israel, right? And that's okay. Then you're invited. So if you're genocidal, then you're invited. And of course, these people self-describe as liberals. It's just kind of an amazing thing. What kind of a group was it that wanted to exclude anyone that supports the existence of the state of Israel and thinks that maybe the Holocaust was an unusual event in human history? What sort of a group was it? Was it a liberal group? Was it a crazed right-wing group with tiki torches from Home Depot?
What organization was that said no Zionists are allowed?
It was someone on the board of an LGBTQ group.
Ah, I see. That's just great. The LGBTQ group, which is fighting discrimination against LGBTQ people, is discriminating against Jews and anyone that supports the very existence of the state of Israel. This is the state of our college campuses today. And what are the college administrators doing? What are the professors doing? Well, they are silent. They are silent. Have to turn the whole poem upside down. First they came for the Jews, and I did not speak because I was not a Jew. The fascists are here, and the left has trained them on college campuses and in high schools and in grammar schools. And gender dysphoria and leftism aside, now they've dialed it up. They certainly have. Wait, it was the LGBTQ group that was inviting people to an LGBTQ, and this is, I got another soundbite that addresses this, so I'll leave it for a moment. But you're gay people defending Hamas? You don't know much about Hamas, do you? Backed by Iran, which hangs gay people in town squares for being gay. Often throws them off of rooftops, too, to their deaths with their hands tied behind their backs. Very often while crowds cheer and chant Allahu Akbar, while they're hanging the gay people from cranes. You ever see that? And they make videos and posts because they want everybody to know. This is what we do. Here is another student, Gideon Askowitz. Gideon Askowitz, got the one University of Pennsylvania student, and then the other students from New York City. And Gideon Askowitz was sitting there and he's listening. Wait, the LGBTQ group is disinviting, uninviting anybody that supports the very existence of the state of Israel. And Gideon Askowitz wants to point something out to them that they should already know, but don't because they're ignorant. Expletives deleted. And there is this meme that's going around. It's funny, we were talking about this meme yesterday at Newsmax, And Gideon Askowitz saw the meme that's going around as well.
I am seeing similarly, we're seeing a lot of students coming in and joining in these protests, and they're not just the various Palestinian students on the campus, but it's a wide swath of this intersectional group that's been coalescing around this issue. And a lot of them are like the LGBTQ clubs, and there's been a very prominent meme that actually explains this very well. There's a picture of chickens holding a sign that says "Chickens for KFC," and below it is a sign that says "Queers for Palestine." And that captures the issue, because if these people were to protest in Gaza with Hamas wouldn't take too kindly to their presence.
In fact, they would likely leave them dead. We should maybe get like a GoFundMe page together and buy plane tickets for the LGBTQ club to move to Gaza. And this is all the left. This is all the Democrat Party. 100%. And I've got two more for you of the college kids who have figured it out. I can assure you, for their entire lives, they will not be voting Democrat. All right, I have two more, then I'm going to wrap this segment up. Another New York City college student, Jack Dweck, D-W-E-K, that's a tough one. Jack Dweck, talking to Fox News this morning about what the Democrats have done to college campuses in the United States.
The thing to me that's been the most disturbing, I think, is the chance on every single protest for an intifada. I don't think a lot of people are educated on an intifada is, what it is, which is basically a sporadic string of terrorist attacks against Jewish people in Israel and across the world. And to see people that attend my school chanting for terrorist attacks against random Jewish people that don't actually have a direct hand in the conflict is extremely scary.
Yeah, they either do know what the Intifada is or they don't. And either way, Deutschland.
It's getting worse and worse by the day. We're at day 20, day 21 now, and these acts of anti-Semitism are just getting more and more extreme. It doesn't feel like we're in America in 2023 anymore. It feels like we're in 1939 Nazi Germany. It's extremely, extremely hard to believe what we're seeing in today's day and age.
It is extremely hard to believe. It's extremely hard for me to believe what we're seeing in today's day and age. That's an old guy turn of phrase. That was Nathan. He's a college student, too. He didn't even want to use his last name out of fear because this is domestic terrorism, and Joe Biden needs to give a national address about this.